We've got a pipeline to paradise.
What's up with you singing every cold open? Happy Monday and welcome into the PHNX Sun Devils show. I'm Anthony Totri, joined as always by my partner in crime. Of course, we've got Erik Ruby, we've got Erickson behind the Mac, making all of the magic happen. Do us a solid, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Rubus, a lot to get into today. Feels like, as always, we've got football to discuss. We're going to try and make our way to some ball and bat sports for the Sun Devils, some big upcoming matchups, both for Willie Bloomquist and Sun Devil baseball. And then, of course, Megan Bartlett and Arizona State softball getting ready for that Big 12 tournament. So before we get into all of that, I do want to get to the thumbnail first. Shout out the one, the only Molly Miller for the Pipeline to Paradise.
I mean,
text.
such a great.
Put it on a t-shirt.
Seriously, an NIL shirt, like a Hawaiian shirt.
Ooh, Hawaii. Yeah, but Hawaiian shirts, you can't really have like text on them. It doesn't do well. Maybe like Hawaiian shirt that's like also maybe like a jersey that's Hawaiian.
I think we're way too Friday on this Monday conversation.
I guess
right
that's
now.
fair. Like I want to.
I think we need to make a shirt. We got to talk.
We
to
need to make a shirt,
like not like us specifically, but the people that make our shirts.
I was gonna say I'm not qualified to make a shirt.
I feel like we could figure it out.
Maybe. It would take us a while.
Yeah.
Something that's not going to take us a while is diving straight into Arizona State recruiting and the success that Kenny Dillingham and this staff have had over the first 2.5, heading into year 3 for Dillingham here in Tempe. I think we have done a lot of discussion in recent weeks about the class of 2026. And that will obviously continue. We'll talk a little bit about the class of 2026 today because it was a big recruiting weekend for Arizona State. Dillingham, Brian Carrington, all of those coaches really hopeful to get some more commits to this class of 2026 that is already up to number 11 in the country right now. Second in the Big 12 behind Kansas. Kansas does have 2 more commits than Arizona State as it stands right now. But I do want to also discuss just how we've seen Arizona State's recruiting path and the pipeline kind of change throughout the first 3 years of Dillingham, because it does look different from the first year in 2024 or 2023. Geez, time flies. 2023.
But it would be the 2024 recruiting class.
2024. Let's see. Yeah, just to double check. Yeah,
in 2023, it would be the 2024.
The 2023 class was his first class because he got here in December, and then you have 2024, 2025, and we're looking.
Are
for
we
2026. Old? We're getting there. We're 100% getting there. I remember when Shane was on, we talked to Keith Abney and Montana Warren when they had committed in that first Dillingham class, and they were still in high school at that time. And to see him now be true junior for Keith Abney is disgusting for me personally. But something that has been, I think, really, really hit on the nail for Arizona State, Erik, over the last couple of years is the whole Texas to Tempe pipeline.
Yeah.
Right. That's obviously the main recruiting hub for high school talent, right? That is the place to go. And you've seen over the years Arizona State really start to have a foothold in Texas. And it's something that continues to grow. I know you had brought it up on previous shows. You wanted to see more local recruiting, but looking back at some of these classes and then looking at the class that Arizona State has right now, 1 player in the state of Arizona, 2 in Georgia, 3 in California, and 6 in Texas. How does that make you feel as it stands now?
It makes you feel good. There's no problem with having a majority of your players come from states like Texas, California, even Georgia.
Yeah.
I mean, those are high school football powerhouses.
They are.
And I don't, when I bring up the Arizona point, I don't say that to like say that they're failing by not doing that.
Yeah.
I just think that because the Arizona is a hotbed of high school football now, and I think that getting, you know, these recruiting paths opened up locally a couple years down the line is going to pay some pretty massive dividends. Obviously, it's not the end. They could get 0 players from Arizona if they have a top 10 recruiting class in the country. Like, you're fine with it.
Yeah.
Right? Texas to Tempe is the best place to start. I thought it was very interesting because when Rashad Samples left, you kind of thought to yourself, like, ooh, was that one of those big connections? Because I forget what high school it was, but I think his dad was a head coach, and there was really, really strong ties there. And you ask yourself, like, was that the connection? And that might have been part of it for sure, but you've seen it continue to go up and up. And I think if you're just going to get something out of Texas football players, is probably the number one thing you're going to want to get.
Yeah, I 100%. I mean, you look at the 6 players that Arizona State is getting from Texas in this 2026 class. You have the 4-star quarterback, Jake Fette, who is the highest rated player in this class. You have running back Carde Mack, another really highly rated player for Arizona State, Julian Hugo as well, the edge rusher, Cortavius Tisby. It's, again, a 6'5", 250-pound offensive tackle. Another interior offensive lineman, Cooper Reed at wide receiver. Like, some of your more highly ranked players are out of that state, and that just is kind of natural given the fact that Texas high school football is where it's at. And then you kind of go through and you look at the players at Arizona State for the class of 2026. Who do they have from California? Well, you've got a guy like Hayden Vircher, who is a high 3-star without the composite ranking. Oscar Aguilar, another 3-star. Like, there are some guys in there from California that are like, okay, they can, maybe if they develop, they can hit the strides of guys that like are a Jordan Tyson-esque or of like a Cam Scadaboo. But the guys from Texas, it feels like almost immediately your expectation is they come in and they produce because of how highly rated they are. You know what I mean? So like, I think again, like for Arizona State, and we'll look at some of the other classes, right? Like the class of 2025, they had 7 players from Texas, 9 from California, 2 from Arizona, 1 from Nevada, 2 from Hawaii, 1 from New Mexico, 1 from Oklahoma, 1 from Utah. The 2024 class, you had 4 from Arizona, 4 from Texas, 3 from California. 2023, 6 in Texas, 6 in California. And at this point, again, keep in mind, Arizona State for the class of 2026 only has 12 hard commits right now, which is, when I say only, that's totally fine given the fact that the early signing period isn't until December. This is a recruiting class that should have somewhere between 20 to 23 players in it when it's all said and done. And you're already at 6 players from that state of Texas, which is just one shy of the most that Dilly is ever had at Arizona State from Texas.
So I know that we're going to dive into some more of these in depth later, but looking at the 2023 football class, can I just name some players from Texas that are in that class for you? How about CJ Fite?
Dog.
Who was a 3-star, 85 overall. He was only top 230 in his state, right? CJ Fite. How about Kyson Brown? You like Kyson Brown from Texas? Oh, what about Keith Abney? Keith Abney, also from Texas. Montana Warren. Can I interest you in some Montana Warren as well? These are all 3-stars, and not even high 3-star guys that are all from Texas in the same class. Corbin Hendricks was, I think, the highest rated Texas player from that class. So this is the class that obviously involved 4-star Jaden Rashada, who was the highest rated in the class. But I mean, you've got Big Max there. He was a 89 overall 3-star. He's from California. Josiah Cox from California. Like, you have a lot of California and Texas flavor. Sean Na from California. Elijah O'Neal from California. This is all from one class.
Yeah.
One class. And so when you go back and you look at some of the players that are either going to be starting, have been starting on this team, and that they're from Texas and they're not even these like high star players from Texas, you understand that some of these players are just ready to come in and contribute. And now you're talking about, from this class, you have 91 on the ranking of 4-star and Jake Fette. Texas, like you mentioned, Carde Mack, a 3-star, high 3-star, top 20 in his position, top 40 in the state of Texas. He's going to be somebody who comes in, and I don't think he's going to be immediately producing because that running back position is going to be loaded, but eventually down the line. You have Julian Hugo, who's an edge out of Texas. He's almost a 90 overall. Like you have so many of these players that when you look at what Arizona State has done with other kids from that state who were lower overall recruits, you can see why those guys would want to come here. And Texas high school football is also like, it's a cult. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
It's a cult. And they all know each other. They all talk to each other. They all communicate. The legends go back there and watch and talk and give perspective and all of that. And so if Arizona State becomes a place where guys are coming back from Arizona State and going, man, I, CJ Fite, Keith Abney have just loved my time in Tempe. And then you see current guys that you played against. Oh, man, Jake Fette is there. Oh, man, Julian Hugo is there. Oh, that guy was a dog. Oh, look at what he's doing at Arizona State. It's the best place for you to have that relationship. Not saying that you don't want to go outside of Texas and you don't want to go outside California. Georgia's great. I still want more from Arizona. These are nitpicky things. But if you're going to build your foundation of recruiting in college football, those are probably the top 2 states to do it from.
Yeah, 100%. And I think the really fun thing to do for me at this point, right, is when you bring up some really heavy hitting names for guys on the Arizona State roster from Texas, right? CJ Fite, Montana Warren, Kyson Brown.
That's all from one class.
And
that's the 2023 class.
And here we are 3 years down the line, and they're all going to play. They're all going to probably start, right, at key positions for Arizona State. A number of them.
Or have been starting already in a college football playoff run.
In just a couple of seasons, right? Yeah. And that's for me why, like, when I think we had this discussion a couple weeks ago of, like, you want to see more Arizona guys, I agree with you. And I think while we still have probably 10 commits to go at a certain point for Arizona State, I think you'll probably get an Arizona guy here or there. But you look at the Arizona recruits that Arizona State has gotten in years past, and immediately when you look at some of those guys, you haven't seen that jump right away. Right? Mm-hmm. When Keith Abney was here, when Montana Warren was here, when CJ Fite was here, immediately as freshmen, even if they weren't playing, they made impressions in practice. Yeah. Right? I remember my very first, the very first game that Dilly coached, and we saw CJ Fite out there, and even just in warmups, I'm like, the Sun Devils don't get guys that are built like this. This is a defensive tackle that is built like a true Division I DT that Arizona State hasn't gotten in the past as a true freshman. Of course, there are guys in rare occasions that you get on transfers, but not as a true freshman. When you get Montana Warren, when you get Keith Abney, their ball skills in the way that they move in coverage, a similar thing of like, that is just, they have been doing it at such a high level at Texas high school football for such a long time that when Dilly says Texas to Tempe, when you get shirts printed that are Texas to Tempe, it's because those are players that have been competing at the highest level of high school football every single year. And you tell me we can go bring those guys in 3 years' time, they're all going to be starting. 2 years' time, they're all going to be contributors. Heck, you may hit a diamond in the rough year 1, and they might be a starter right then and there, right? So I would say if you are somebody that is big on what Dilly had said when he first got here of, we want to get Arizona guys, that is still something that the Sun Devils want to do. That is still absolutely true. Now, there is a little bit of a balancing act between getting Arizona recruits and getting Arizona transfers, right? Just because you don't see kids that play high school ball in the state of Arizona committing to Arizona State right off rip, doesn't mean that the Sun Devils aren't eventually going to get those guys. Sure. We've seen it in the past with you know, I mean, even the Helton brothers, right? Now they're out of California.
Zach Swanson was a local kid.
Was a Brophy guy. So, like, these types of situations are just what college football is right now, and you have to have a little faith that, yes, when the recruiting class is all said and done, Arizona is not going to be a top 2 state for the Sun Devils in the recruiting class. It's just not going to happen simply because of the talent here versus the talent in California and the talent in Texas. But that doesn't mean that they're not going to get Arizona kids on the come around that are maybe more ready to play and like actually contribute in year 2, year 3 down the line.
You know, I know we're talking about recruiting class, so I'm just looking at the 2023 football commit page, and I'm going down to the to the transfers.
It's the craziest list of transfers.
Well, here are just the transfers that played high school football in Texas. Have you heard of a guy named Jordan Tyson?
I have.
Have you heard of a guy named Clayton Smith?
I have.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. What about Troy O'Meary?
Yeah.
Okay. Xavier Alford?
Yeah.
Okay, these are all just 2023 football transfers. Those are just a couple that are from Texas. Oh, sorry, Prince Dorba. Don't let me forget about Prince Dorba.
Dogs.
Cam Scadaboo also on that transfer list. Melquan Stovall also on that transfer list. Now, they didn't play, obviously, high school football in Texas. There are a lot of California there as well. Where did DeCarlos Brooks play high school? Oh, DeCarlos Brooks is local.
Yeah, he was local.
Out of Chandler, yeah. So it's funny because you look at this 2023 class and you see all these like kind of foundational building blocks. A lot of them are from Texas.
Yeah.
Even the transfers, a lot of them are from Texas.
Which is not a shock.
No,
right?
But it's clear that there's like an identity in something that they're going and looking for. And that's something that you need as a team is you also need like your roots to settle in. Cause you look at the 2024 class and the top guys aren't from Texas, by the way.
No.
Top 3 are from the Pacific Northwest.
Yep.
Right. And then you get into your Texases and there's a good run of Texas guys after that. But transfers like you mentioned with Arizona, it's the same thing with Texas, right? Like you want to be an open door for these people. And Arizona State and Kenny Dillingham has absolutely been that open door. And that will, in the long run, play in your favor, but it's also shown short-term benefits as well.
Yeah, 100%. And I love the fact that you bring up that in last year's class or class of 2024, the top guys for Arizona State weren't really out of Texas, right? You had a guy like Jason Brown, you had Jaden Fortier, some of those guys that when you look at Arizona State, the players that they got, those are the only players realistically that they got from those specific states, right? Jason Brown, Kyan McDonald from Washington. Those were the only 2 commits that they got from that state. The rest being, Texas, Arizona, California.
But they identified top tier talent in another state,
which is something that other previous staffs would not do. It's more so, hey, this is where we're going to recruit. And that is pretty much that, unless you are a crazy outlier. This is a staff at Arizona State, as it stands right now in 2025, that yes, there are pipelines. Yes, they want to get guys from Texas, California, and Arizona. Why? The obvious answer, that's where the best high school football players are at. Those are the ones that you want to bring in to come play for a university that's trying to compete for championships. But that does not mean that there isn't talent outside of those states that this staff doesn't know about.
Yeah. I mean, the top, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So out of the top 7 guys, there's only one in the 2026 class that's not from Texas or California. And it's Nayland Scott, who is a near 4-star wide receiver out of Georgia.
Yeah.
Right. And somebody that we talked about could be a big-time player on this team if everything goes right for him and just the way that he plays, his size. He's basically 6'2", 200. But you look at that, it's like, okay, you've got your top ones from Texas, and that's great. You've got your Californias as well. Then you just drop there's a Georgia. There's a little Georgia in there, right?
Like an almost 4-star. 2 almost 4 stars.
2 almost 4 stars. And so when you look at that and you just say to yourself, like, okay, like you could have your foundational pieces, but if you're building something, let's say you're building a house, you want really strong, good foundations, right? You need the concrete slab on the bottom. You need strong wood that you're building out your frame. You need good you need all of that. You also need some good furniture.
Yeah.
You need some good paintings on the wall, right? You need some good, like, I'm not trying to like downplay anybody else's like these like decorations or whatever, but if you just have a house built out of Texas and California,
it all goes hand in hand,
right? It's like then nobody's gonna want to live in that house.
Exactly.
But if you've got, here's a 4-star from Georgia, that's our fireplace. Like, here's a high 3-star from Washington. Like,
how about Cam Dyer from New Mexico?
Cam Dyer. I mean, yeah, you look at the 2025 class. I mean, he was a 94 on the rankings. He's a 4-star.
Yeah, almost a 5-star guy.
Top player in his state.
Yeah.
Shout out Gerald's New Mexico.
So was, I believe, Jason Brown. He was either Jason Brown or Jaden Fortier, I believe, was also the top player in their state.
Look here.
Or at least,
yeah, it was Fortier. Fortier was the number 1 player in Oregon. So yeah, you're taking the top 1 player. Then, by the way, Terrell Kim, interior offensive lineman, the 3rd best player in the state. So you had 2 of the 3 best players out of the state of Oregon in one class.
Yeah.
Right. And so when you're able to identify these things. And then also when you go into states that are, I guess, outside of your pipeline, nab top tier talent, literally top
the
tier,
top
like
shelf.
top. I'm not, I mean, I'm upset that he's injured. He needs to take care of himself, but like, I think Cam Dyer would have played this year.
Yeah.
If he was healthy. And he is 6'4", 200 quarterback wide receiver.
He's
guy.
my bet. And I don't know if I've said this. He is my bet when healthy and when Leavitt is gone to win the quarterback job.
Over Fette.
Over whoever's in there. Now, as of right now, right? I don't know what they're going to bring in for transfers and for all that stuff down the line. That guy looks like a Division I quarterback that can immediately go in and help you. And that's just from look. We haven't even really seen him in practice because he's still recovering from a torn ACL.
Yeah.
Right? So, but even for him to have, come out and at this point get familiar with the playbook, be out there in spring football, even with him being injured, I think speaks volumes to who he is and the type of player that he will one day be at Arizona State.
Yeah, just a casual as a junior Gatorade player of the year in New Mexico. 29 touchdown passes, 26 rushing touchdowns to go along with that as well.
He's an animal.
55.
He's an animal, bro.
55 total touchdowns.
Which is 15 more than Carde Mack, who had 40 as a quarterback and running back.
Great
as
math.
Well.
Great math.
I think 40. Yeah.
Great math.
Yeah.
Listen, let's keep diving into this, but before we continue to kind of compare these recruiting classes, let's take a quick break.
I want to tell you guys about our friends over at Circle K. It feels like at this point, if you are not an Inner Circle member, well, you're just not listening to us. And maybe you don't want to save money. But if you do want to save money, if you want great deals on snacks and gas and everything that Circle K has to offer, well, take the next 30 seconds and change. Go to the App Store, download the app, enter your email and phone number, and that is it. You are officially a member of Inner Circle. The next time you pull up to the pump, you're going to type in your phone number like I do every single time, like I know Rubus does, and you guys are going to start saving money. But you're probably sitting at home, you're wondering, okay, like, what am I actually saving? Well, your first 5 fill-ups, you guys could save 25 cents per gallon, and then every single day after that, literally, every single day, 365 days a year, you guys can save 3 cents per gallon. Not to mention, Circle K always is throwing out Inner Circle Fuel Days where you guys can save like a ridiculous amount of money on gas. And May 6th, which is tomorrow, big Circle K giveaway. Customers can enter to win prizes, cash, and more. Visit CircleK.com/big giveaway. Join Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details.
Could I interest anybody here who just happens to be an Arizona State Sun Devil fan, if there are any here, about meeting an ASU baseball legend? Does that sound nice?
I'm here for it.
How about Jeff Larish? Good.
Let's do it.
Good.
Let's do it.
You like that?
When and where?
Well, when and where? Easily the best place for it to happen at Lone Butte Casino, of course, the Gila River Resorts and Casino location. 2 days from now.
Let's do it.
Wednesday, May 7th from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. at Taste Kitchen. Plus, the first 70 guests will receive a free bobblehead.
Ooh.
Grab your photo, meet a true ASU icon. It's not Barry Bonds, but it's still a great time. Plus, while you're there at Gila River Resorts and Casinos, you can do so much more beyond just that hour of meeting an ASU baseball legend. But you can also go to their state-of-the-art gaming floor, grab a great bite to eat, or even make a whole vacation out of it and take a couple days at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for more details.
Guys, also now is a great time to sign up to become a PHNX diehard. Just go over to gophnx.com, click the little diehard tab, and it's going to tell you everything that you unlock when you become a PHNX diehard, including exclusive content. You're going to get access to the diehard Discord, which I know is my personal favorite. Rubus is always doing like exclusive diehard only like shows. You were doing one today for Suns fans. For Suns,
we did a diehard only live stream talking playoff basketball, Steven and I. So if you're an NBA fan, even beyond the Suns, we're still talking about hoops in there. And you know, that's not it. I think the Discord lounge is like the big selling point, but there's still so much more. I feel like the 20% off merch doesn't really get thrown in there because we tell you like, oh yeah, you know, you get a free t-shirt or a free hat every single year. It's like, oh, that's great. And that's awesome. Plus,
Yeah.
if you want any other merch, like our hopefully eventual Pipeline to Paradise shirt, you can get 20% off that merch as well for every single purchase, plus 20% off events. A lot of our events are free, but some of them are paid. Those are the really, really cool, really fun ones. You get a 20% discount off on that as well. Plus, exclusive written content and ad-free experience on our website. It's honestly one of the best investments. Hopefully you already did it and you got in on the $36 deal, which is just insane, like an insane deal. But all of our diehards can tell you it's still worth the full price of admission. Head to gophnx.com and prove your fanhood. Come on, show us you care.
Fanhood.
Come on.
I love it. I love it, guys. Make sure you hit that like button. You hit the subscribe button. You drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. Coach Starkholm saying Fette is our quarterback of the future.
You're a 4-star from Texas coming in. You're probably.
You've got a good chance.
But the thing about Dyer,
Butter is what he was a 4-star from California.
Yeah, transferred to Arizona.
But that's again like. We're in such a unique territory where Arizona State fans are immediately, and I love Coach Stark, and I think again Jake Fette is going to be a part of that competition, obviously. But we're in such a unique spot now where immediately you see 4-star quarterback from Texas, and you're like, boom, that's the guy. But you got a 4-star kid from California that was also an absolute dog, and you got a 4-star near 5-star, 2-time I believe Gatorade Player of the Year in New Mexico, also in that quarterback room, not to mention potential transfers. Like, you have a competent quarterback room now. So you don't have to immediately just go to that, we got the 4-star from Texas, he's the likely option, right? The thing that Dyer is going to have over Fette is he will have already been here for a year.
Sure.
Butter will have the same thing. So, and that's if they even want to use Dyer as a quarterback when he's ready.
So Butter's a 3-star. Just
yeah.
So obviously still good, right? With Dyer, number 1 player in the class, but also didn't commit as a quarterback.
Correct. Committed
as an athlete and a wide receiver. So I think that there might be an option there, especially if Jordan Tyson goes to the draft as well, that there's a chance that Dyer could be somebody who steps in as a wide receiver as well. So I think that that's interesting. There will definitely be a quarterback competition. It will be, I think, between Fette and Dyer, and who knows? Like you said, maybe somebody transfers in. Right?
I imagine they'll bring
Arizona State's going to be a another year of Jeff Sims ball. Anybody?
He doesn't have any eligibility left after this season.
I'm sure he could figure it out.
Sam could come back. Sam could 100% from an eligibility perspective can come back. And I've had people ask me, what would it take?
I was literally about to say that. I'm like, is it a good season and he comes back, or does it have to be a disappointing season?
I think, and of course, like the only path that I see for Sam Leavitt to return to Arizona State, I guess two paths. One, they are just shy of a national championship. They make it to the semifinals, lose, and Sam's like, you know what? I got unfinished business. I'm coming back.
Yeah.
That's one option. I think the other option is Sam misses extensive time, right? Obviously, nobody, and I mean nobody, wants that to happen. But that would be the only other scenario that I see Sam returning. Because if he were to have a really solid year the way we all think Arizona State is going to perform this year, then the amount of money that he can make immediately as a quarterback in the NFL, as a projected first-round pick, is just astronomically larger than what he will make at Arizona State and where he would make, just point-blank period at any university in the country. Right. So those are like your only real options. If this team has a really successful season, they win the Big 12, they go to the college football playoff. I really, really don't see a path for him coming back. It just doesn't make financial sense. I think there's an option where this team still performs really well because the defense is awesome and the ground game maybe takes off, and maybe Sam has a down year, which I don't see happening. But if that happens, I could see him coming back because his stock would drop. Right.
If his stock drops, you can kind of look like a Cam Ward who could have gone to the draft a year earlier, decided to stay in college another year. And obviously he transferred, and we don't want that to happen. But who stayed in college another year and just upped his stock so much they became the number 1 overall pick. Right. So it could be a non-injury related thing, and maybe you're right. Like, there's so many different weapons and options for Sam that he wants to be here. He wants to come back. They were successful. They didn't get to the ultimate goal, but he felt like his personal stock could be better. I think at the end of the day, you're rooting for him to be gone because you want him to be the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
Right. And so,
which he's got a chance.
And I think you have to operate under the premise, because I'm sure he's feeling the same way. You have to operate under the premise that he'll be gone.
Him and Tyson.
Gone.
Yeah. And I've been operating, I'm sure you have been doing that as well. Most ASU media, I think, has kind of been, discussing this season as like, this is the last you will see of Sam Leavitt and Jordan Tyson at Arizona State, both as it stands right now, again, projected first-round picks. Now things change and evolve throughout the season, depending on other players, et cetera. Does Arch Manning come out after this 1 year at Texas that he's going to be the starter? People feel like they're 50-50 split on that. And that, I think, will ultimately impact where Sam goes. Is the whole Arch Manning dilemma. Does he have one good year and boom, he's immediately the number 1 overall pick because his last name is Manning and he played at Texas?
Probably.
Or does he, have a good year at Texas and opt to come back and really grow as a player under Sarkisian?
Well, and I also, people have to understand that starting the clock on that NFL contract is really massive.
It's important, man.
It's really, especially for a quarterback.
Yeah.
Spending more years in college is great. Having a good time at ASU is great. Being Big 12 champions is great. Being, even if you're not number 1, being a first round pick and starting your clock,
brother,
as hey, I'll eventually either get tagged or get an extension, and starting that clock a whole year earlier
is massive.
It's really, really important.
We're talking about life-changing money.
Yeah, I think the only way that he doesn't come back is
the only way that he does come back?
He's got to slip out of a day 1. Or he'd have to be in like a day 2.
Which would mean Arizona State has a bad year.
Yeah. So which I don't see happening. And hopefully that doesn't happen.
And it's a loaded quarterback class next year. So the next 2 drafts should be pretty ridiculous. But just for perspective, or I guess context, right? Ashton Jeanty went, 5 or 6 in this last draft? He is now the 2nd highest paid running back in the NFL. Mm-hmm. His contract is $32 million guaranteed, 4 years. He's obviously got the player option, or the team option that 5th year. So that's the type of money that we're talking about. If Sam or Jordan have a really good season, I'm sorry, there are not enough donors at Arizona State to give Sam Leavitt $32 million for 1 year.
And I think another argument there, if you want to just take the Sun Devils advocate on this, RIP, but he might not care as much about the money. And I know that, it's
maybe
important.
Man, I'm just thinking from my brain.
No, and I get it, but also think about it from your brain as well. Like, he might not care about it because he's already making a good amount.
Yeah, he is.
Right? I mean, I've heard things about, that money isn't the main thing for him.
Yeah.
Right? And so it might be like, man, I'm having the time of my life. I love Kenny. I love it here. Once I leave, I can never come back here, right? Yeah. And maybe
he could
you win,
come back
maybe
here.
You no, but you know what I mean. But you know what I mean, right? Yeah. And so it's like, oh well, maybe we did win a Big 12 championship. Maybe I want to run it back to back, right? Maybe I want to go back to back to back. So
this ain't Mike with a great comment saying Sam passes the handsome check. He's for sure going top 5. Only Uggo quarterback to ever do anything in the NFL. Is
Have we forgot about the Manning family?
Yeah, I guess that's
respectfully,
fair. I guess that's
Peyton
fair.
Manning.
Peyton's not ugly. He's just got a forehead the size of Nebraska. Omaha. There you go.
I
mean, I'm not getting into this. I'm not talking about handsome quarterbacks.
Hot or not.
Yeah, quarterback. Peyton Manning. Oh my goodness.
No, I think. All right. This. I'm not reading the next one. But there is a chance where some people are wired differently, and you also have to understand that these kids are making already life-changing money, right? Money that will,
but not generational.
No. Depends on how you spend it. But like it could come down to ASU has an offer where it's like, okay, I can go to back Big 12 champions. That will cement you as one of the greatest college football players of all time.
What do we do?
A 72-hour stream.
If they win 3 straight Big 12 championships. Just a week straight, nonstop.
I think we have to retire after that.
We retire.
We retire.
That's fine. That's fine.
No, so I'm not saying that's likely. I would have put my money on it or anything like that, right? But if money isn't the end all be all,
Mhm.
and he wants to be here, and there is success, but maybe still not a college football championship, like there's a world where now it's not like you're making no money. If there was a you're making no money thing, he's gone after this year probably no matter what.
Yeah.
So there's at least that door that stays open. And I mean, we could dive more into that. Not to be Mr.
I was gonna
Policeman
be.
here.
Yeah, you beat me to it, man.
But we talk so much about the Texas to Tempe and the pipeline and everything. But we got some important messages for you after this break. So let's go ahead and take it.
Look, Rubus and I are very different individuals, but one thing that we have in common for sure is the fact that we love pure edibles. Look, the best part about pure gummies, in my personal opinion, is that they are not covered in sugar like all of their competitors. I know there's some health nuts out there that want to do everything possible to stay healthy, but they also like their weed, right? I can attest to that. I like my weed, and I like to stay healthy somewhat, right? So when I am having an edible and it's not covered in sugar, but it still tastes like candy, well, that feels like an absolutely win-win situation. Look, they're like a full-fledged candy company offering gummies, kicks, their version of Starburst chews, soft candies like caramel, and hard candies as well. I know, Rubus, you really love the fact that they clearly list the effects on each and every 10, sleep support,
I took the sleepy one and it knocked me out.
He's out.
Done.
He's out. Guys, you can go find yourself some Pure Edibles products from one of the over 130 dispensaries across Arizona.
Hey,
Hey,
you want $200?
I'd love $200.
Hey, chat. Hey, audio listener. You want $200?
Let's do it.
Okay. Well, what if I told you it was like really easy?
Okay.
And what if I also told you, along with those $200, you get to Banco Desert Financial Credit Union? Of course, the only place where you can show your ASU team spirit, but also teams like Arizona Cardinals or NAU if you're into that stuff. But for more than 84 years, Desert Financial has been Arizona's largest, most trusted local credit union. Of course, my family has been using DFCU for literal generations. They've got your basics, your checkings and savings accounts. Of course, the things that I started when I started working in high school. And now as you get older, mortgages, loans, credit cards, investment options, and more. They're just holding your hand all along the way. But unlike a lot of other places, they want to literally just give you money. So when you open up a free checking account online, get $200 in bonuses. Get started by visiting desertfinancial.com/200. Once again, that's $200 in bonuses. Get started by visiting desertfinancial.com/200.
Clint's here.
Clint!
I haven't seen Clint in a while.
He pops in and out, but it's definitely not as frequent
Not
as
as
it
free.
used to.
Is it, Clint? Is it because
Is
we're
it-
not in the
did we
same
do
conference
something?
anymore? I think that's what it is. I think-
Is it us?
I think it's
Or
because
is it
the
you?
Beavs are still. What are they? Are they Pac-12 now? They Mountain West.
You know what?
They're still playing ball.
They exist. And
They're
that's
just
all that
doing it
matters.
in a different conference, with some Mountain West schools.
Clint,
now.
we miss you.
Yeah, we do miss you, Clint. Guys, make sure you hit that like button. You hit the subscribe button. I tell you literally all the time because, well, it makes a difference.
Hey, congratulations, Anthony Totri, on reaching 40,000 subscribers on PHNX Sports.
Boom. Not just me, that's everybody.
I know, but I just wanted to say it
thanks,
to you.
man.
But yeah, big shout
That's
out
why I
to
tell
everybody here.
all the time. Just hit the subscribe button, man.
Well, here's the thing. We say it all the time, and everybody says it. Anybody who has a YouTube channel says,
I guess
hit the
that's
like
fair.
button and subscribe, right? You hear it when you listen to any, and I get it. Sometimes it just kind of like washes over, but don't think that it's lost on us how amazing it is that 40,000 people plus have decided to subscribe. Of course, all of you that are in here every day, if this is your first time in here as well, like it does mean a lot to us. Obviously, I've been around here for a while now, no longer the new guy, but not
Feels crazy.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy to me that like now, like I'm like training people and doing stuff, and I'm like, whoa. But
Time flies.
obviously, for the people who were here and started it, and the people who started it who are no longer here for a variety of reasons, like all played an instrumental role in changing how sports media covers things here in the Valley. Even before I got here, like the influence of this place was very much felt in other media outlets. And so I just think it's so impressive to hit this milestone and to know that, we're still going, but the only reason that we're still going, the only reason that we're on an upward trajectory is because of the people who are in here right now. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button, might I remind you, it's free.
Yeah, so is the like button.
That is true.
And the 5-star
Maybe we should start
review.
charging for the likes. 50-cent likes. We would get free dislikes.
What would be the point of that?
I don't know. I don't know.
Or no, the dislikes you should charge.
Yeah. That's great.
That's definitely a good feature. Maybe we could talk to the higher ups after this one. Mike is just ripping some all-time great comments. I can't read all of them, but they are 100% hilarious comments.
Yeah, it's okay, Jacob.
It's okay. We're here.
I'm not reading that comment.
We're here, though. We're here. Just know I see you, Jacob. I see you.
Hear you.
I see you.
Also, and you know what? If you're not subscribed on YouTube, but you listen on audio, and you're subscribed to our audio feed, or you're one of our wonderful audio listeners, just know that we love you too. But even if you don't go on YouTube, you can still subscribe.
Yeah, you can 100%.
You can still listen on audio.
I've got like 4 different
subscribe.
YouTube channels that are all subscribed to
PHNX.
To PHNX Sports. Yeah.
Are you all 40,000? We've just been doing this show for 40,000
accounts.
Totri
I'm
bots.
actually Sharon, Clint. This ain't Mike. Will. I'm all.
There's a conspiracy theory on Suns that I'm a commenter who drops some pretty crazy super chats. Be calm, see clearly. I don't know if you've seen any of their work.
Oh, God, seen any of their work.
But yeah, no, it's not me. But I don't know. Maybe you are. Maybe you're this ain't Mike.
Maybe. You'll never know.
And Mike, it's okay. You can keep commenting, man. It's fine. But yeah, no, we appreciate everybody.
Oh my goodness. Where were we? Sam Leavitt?
We're
Sam
talking
Leavitt
about
discussion?
Sam Leavitt, originally talking about recruiting classes.
But before we
and
get back to
stuff.
recruiting, I want to hit the one final part of the Sam Leavitt discussion that you were bringing up that's just sticking in my mind. And again, this could be just like the way my brain works, but I'd love to get your thoughts on it. Is we talk about the money side of things and how things are completely different now, right? When you have NIL, but still, yes, Sam is getting paid handsomely at Arizona State. Let's say I throw a number at you. Let's say you.
Me.
Here. $4 million.
All right.
So let's say you're making $4 million.
40,000 subscribers is good living.
You're doing great. You're making you enjoy what you're doing. You love the environment, etc. Like, that's fine. You love it here.
Okay. But
you are one of the best in the country at what you do.
Yeah, thanks.
Right?
Number one overall.
And there's ALLCITY Network, okay? We're hiring you national now.
Okay.
You're going to do the national show. And we're going to give you $30 million.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. I know you love it here, but
I'll take the 30.
Are you leaving $26 million on the table? What if you have a bad year the following year?
Here's the counter, right? If I feel like maybe I'm worth more than that, right? Maybe I know that is a crazy
jump.
Hits
40,000 subscribers and the ego
jump.
goes through the moon here.
No, but I get what you're saying, but let's just say like hypothetically, like that might still be there in a year, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I got family stuff. I need time to figure things out. Let me stay where I love it for a year, make good money, be comfortable, and then take that step.
Yeah.
There's a chance. I think Sam's gone. I would take the $30 million, especially because it's like Sam's gone to go be quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, which is also still good for Arizona
State, which is again still good for PHNX, right? So like I totally understand where you're coming from. I don't think that what I said is a possible path would be true, but you also can't get in the head of people. And,
yeah, that's very true.
And it would also be like, if I did that, I can most likely always come back, right? Unless I really suck it up. But in Sam's case, there is no going back to what you're doing here. There is no playing football for Kenny Dillingham again because his ass ain't going to the NFL, right? There's no being an Arizona State Sun Devil on the field again, right? There's no playing with your friends that you've made over the past couple years again. So it could play into his mind, but I would still say, as most of the time it does, if Sam is a top 20, top 15
he's
pick,
gonna be a top 10 pick.
I think so too. But I think if he's anywhere in the first round, I would say he is probably gone.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with you on that. Obviously, a lot of great questions in the chat. I definitely want to get to some of those on the back half of the rest of our recruiting discussion. If you have any final thoughts on the state of where Arizona State's recruiting is, just based off of a couple years, right? 1 year of success, really and truly, right? 1 year that was a down 3-9 season. You still added a bunch of talent. Then you went into the Big 12. You won it. And now you're heading into this season.
It's 1 year of success on the field, but I think the thing that I'm looking at when you look back at all of this, and I haven't really dove back into the classes until today because we're so like today focused and future focused and whatnot. I mean, there are even names that we haven't mentioned from that 2023 class that are still like making impacts here, right? And so think about how the fact that this was just the first winning season, but I can go back to 2023 and I can point out, let me just count players that I've either started or played on last year's team.
Okay.
One.
I'll count for you.
Okay. Ihanachor. I know it. Ihanachor.
Look at me correcting you on that.
I know. That's not what always kicks my butt. But you got Max.
Okay.
Right? You have Kyle Scott.
Okay.
Montana Warren.
Kyle Scott will start this year.
Montana Warren. Sean Nah. Kyson Brown. CJ Fite. Keith Abney. Elijah O'Neal.
Keep going.
That is all
That's
from
13.
From the that's not 13, that's 8.
You're right, it's 8.
That's 8. Come on, man. That's just from the high school recruiting class of 2023.
It's my math.
Right? And then you look at the transfers. Jordan Tyson.
Okay, 1.
Clayton Smith.
2.
Shamari Simmons.
3.
Troy O'Meara.
4.
Xavier Alford.
5.
Leaf Fautanu.
6.
Xavier Guillory.
7.
Ben Coleman.
8.
Prince Dorba.
9.
Cam Scadaboo.
10.
Melquan Stovall.
11.
DeCarlos Brooks.
12. So we're talking in total 20 because you had the 8 and then
that was first year. And so what you're looking at for all of this is internal development. And what you saw in a short period of time was that you got the most out of all of them.
Yeah.
So now when you look at 2024 and you have a Jason Brown, a Jaden Fortier, a Terrell Kim, a Rodney Bimmage, right? Zachariah Sample, Kyan McDonald, Champ Westbrook, Martell Hughes, Tony Lewis and Cuba. You're looking at players, you're like, okay. And we expected something from Plas Johnson this year, obviously injury aside. You're looking at these things and you're like, okay, we see the vision. Look at the transfers from that year. Jeff Sims, Malik McLean, Zach Swanson, Shimon Mateer, Jalen Clem, Jacob Kingaika, Miles Rouser.
Guys that are going to have impacts again this year.
Keyshawn Elliott.
Yeah, Cyrus Fiasayu, Jordan Crook.
Raleek Brown,
your entire linebacker.
Sam Leavitt?
Yeah,
Sam Leavitt. Justin Watley.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Cameron Harpool, who is an unsung hero. Javen Robinson. So when you go back and you start listening at these things, and it's like every other name is somebody who played for this team and made an impact, whether it's in the recruiting class or the transfer class. You start looking at these names that you have that are going to be playing this year, like an AJ Ia, and you're like,
as a true freshman.
Oh, crap.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, oh, crap. What are you going to be doing a couple years from now? Right? Who is going to be the guys who jump out from this? Because if you look at that 2023 class, Jaden Rashada was the number 1 recruit. Obviously, he's gone. Like, I love Max, Big
Where
Max.
Where did he end up? Sacramento State?
No, Western Kentucky.
Is he at Western Kentucky? I thought he ended up at Sac State.
Was it Sac State?
I don't know.
Or did he visit Western Kentucky?
He visited, I think, Western Kentucky. I think he ended up at Sacramento State.
Yeah, Sacramento State.
Yeah.
The house that Cam Scadaboo built.
Yeah. Scad built all the houses from here to Sacramento.
But like think about Corbin Hendricks was a top 5 guy in that class.
Yeah.
Right? Like Josiah Cox, right? Ashley Williams Jr., Kavion Thunderbird. These are all above your Kyle Scotts, Montana Warren, Sean Nah, Kyson Brown, CJ Fite, Keith Abney.
Stars don't matter.
Elijah O'Neal. Like Elijah O'Neal is the lowest one that we're talking about from there, right? That played significant minutes. And so, you look at what they have now and you want to focus on the top of the top. And that's great. And you should, especially when you get a Cam Dyer, a Jake Fette, right? A Carde Mack, a Julian Hugo, like an AJ Ia. Great. Awesome. Don't sleep on Zeth Sooth. God, I hate his name in the best way possible. Out of Liberty, or Oscar Aguilar, the linebacker that we talked about a week and a half ago, right? Their eye for talent and their ability to turn players into legitimate contributors in a short period of time, it's on full display.
It is. It absolutely is. And it's a lot of fun to see. So fun, in fact, that we continue to yap, and we do have one more break that we have to get to. So I promise we'll get to some of those really, really fun questions that you guys threw in there a little bit ago. We'll get to those, I promise, but we do have to take one final break. Guys, we're not always in this studio, but when we are, we just really appreciate the flooring. Okay, now I know you guys can't really see it in here. Rubus
They can see it in the
literally
back there.
took off his shoes so that he
feels
could
good.
enjoy the Empire Today flooring. Guys, just like
So
your
smooth.
favorite team needs a home court, a home field, your home needs a home floor. Now, I don't know how many of you have tried to get new flooring. You've gone to the big box stores. You've wandered through the aisles. You've asked somebody for help. You don't know if they work there. They ignore you. They can't answer your questions. And then when you finally do get everything, you have to go home and do it yourself. It takes
Or,
you
hey, we can help you out in
hours.
like 7 months.
And it's not what you want to do. Empire Today, though, they live and they breathe flooring, and they're going to be with you every step of the way. It is literally a whole different ball game. Schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. PHNX listeners can receive a $350 discount when using promo code PHNX. Yes, you heard it right. A $350 discount with code PHNX. Restrictions apply. Visit EmpireToday/PHNX for full details.
We got a new promo code for branded bills. Use code BBPHNX for 20% off your first order. But what do you get with 20% off
Tell
code
me.
BBPHNX? Well, just the best hats in the game, the best feeling hats in the games, whether it's snapbacks, truckers, fitted, beanies, or tees. Brandon Bills has you covered with performance and style. I've been saying this a lot. I keep on telling you that I need to get a haircut, and I just
You
don't.
do. You do
I just
keep
don't.
saying
I just
that.
don't do it.
Yeah.
Right? I'm letting the lettuce flow a little bit, but I've been playing a lot of basketball. It's so nice outside, and so the hair was getting into my face. I was like, I got to wear a hat, and it's always a Brandon Bills hat when I'm doing anything. When I'm hitting the gym, when I'm going out and playing basketball, when I'm podcasting, when I'm going out on town. Brandon Bills hats are just the perfect blend of performance and style. They look good and they feel good, and they're a local company that doesn't just partner with ASU, but also my beloved and also my hated Phoenix Suns. Again, head to brandonbills.com. Use promo code BBPHNX for 20% off your first order. Once again, that is code BBPHNX for 20% off your first order.
They're so comfortable.
Yes.
That's my favorite part, is the fact that they're so comfortable. Yes, Will saying, speaking of ball game, sticks and balls are on hot streaks for Arizona State. Obviously, baseball, they got a couple weeks left in the season, but this is a team that's on an absolute heater right now. Won 7 of their last 8 games. They're 32-17 on the year. Couple of weeks left till they get to that Big 12 tournament. So we'll definitely continue to monitor them when we do actually get to that point. And then Big 12 softball tournament is right around the corner for Megan Bartlett and company. Arizona State, they're the 5 seed. They're taking on the 4 seed Oklahoma State this Thursday. So on Thursday's show, we'll do a little bit of a post-game kind of format. Erik should have some fun with that one when we eventually get over to that.
Hopefully we're playing that sweet, sweet wind music.
I hope so. I can't deal with a lost music in May. It's just, it feels gross.
What a sentence.
The winner does advance to the semifinals. Now, ASU did play Oklahoma State just once this year. They did lose 0-4, just 4 hits in that game for ASU. But a wildly important game, I think, for the program, for Megan Bartlett's future at Arizona State. And then, of course, talking ASU baseball, Willie Bloomquist and company need to finish the season strong. They need to have a strong postseason. So definitely we'll continue to monitor all that stuff. But I did want to get to some of the questions in the chat from a little bit earlier. Someone threw in a comment that ESPN had thrown out an idea that they would almost decide the college football playoff. Yeah, here we go. From Jacob. What did y'all think about the college football playoff being decided by TV ratings? An idea thrown out by ESPN.
What does that even mean?
It's trash. It's a trash idea.
So, like, it doesn't matter if you win the conference?
I think in terms of like seeding and then also like tiebreaker type stuff. You know what I mean? It's trash.
Oh, what a surprise. ESPN has an idea based around ratings and not actual sports.
Yeah, it's not a good idea.
This is why there are people who are here right now.
I would absolutely hate to see that happen because you would be leaving out some really fun teams that are in smaller markets. I mean, and I know they didn't perform great, right, in the college football playoff, but Boise State, right? Like, that's a team that had a top 10 pick in the NFL draft, an absolutely ridiculous talent in Ashton Genty, but they're not getting wild TV ratings, right? They're in a smaller market. Like, we don't need it. Nobody needs that by any means. It's just It's gross. Okay. This ain't Mike with another comment saying, serious note, one thing to consider is if Sam does go top 20 in the draft, that would be huge for ASU recruiting. Shows Dilly can develop stars and get them to the league.
Well, yeah, I think pair that with if Scat has a good year.
Yeah.
You know, or if there's any other
there's a world where Sam Leavitt's a giant.
Yeah, there is.
The Arizona State Giants. Or the New York Sun Devils.
Can we maybe do that with a different franchise, maybe?
I don't know what to tell you, man. The Giants already took Scat.
I know.
We can't really, it's
Scat will change
the really bad thing is, like, because these players are projected first round picks at prime positions, right? Sam, Tyson at wide receiver. We're talking about them likely going to bad teams, right? I saw one mock draft that had, I think, Jordan Tyson going to the Browns.
Ugh.
Right? Like, that's disgusting. Nobody wants to see that.
to Jordan Tyson?
Stop it right now. That's my worst nightmare. It's my worst nightmare.
Sorry, Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Tyson.
Shadur's not going to be on the roster at that point. But that's just kind of the way you got to live with. But I would love to see Sam and Scat on the same team again. That would be a lot of fun.
That would be great. I mean, top 20, I think, is even just like generous on the negative end for Sam. I think Sam could be the number one pick in the draft if everything goes right, especially because people get so quarterback crazed unless your name is Shador Sanders. But I think the thing with this is less about where they get drafted and more about how they produce in the NFL. I'm sure where they get drafted is important, especially if Sam goes like number one overall. But like with Scat, nobody's going to care that he went in, the 4th round instead of the 3rd or the 2nd round if he goes out there and balls.
Which he will.
Right? Which he will. Right? So I agree. Sharon says straight to jail for that one, Erik. Lock me up, coach. But I agree with what you're saying, that it helps put us on a map. I think this season is so important for so many different reasons, not just to kind of remain on the map in college football and as a competitive team and not being a one-hit wonder, but also with continuing to produce NFL talent on a yearly basis. The same Mike says, just no Sam to the Jets, please. He doesn't deserve that.
That's fair. Nobody deserves to play for the New York Jets or the New York Giants, to be honest with you. Like,
Scat will save them.
I know. It's gonna be. I know. Maybe one day. Maybe one day.
Come home, Cam. Come home
to Arizona. Play for the Cardinals.
Play for the Cards.
It's all like Monty just didn't need to draft a running back 2 years ago. That's what happened. I told him. I remember sitting there. I was telling him. I said, Monty, dude, there's gonna be this guy right here at Arizona State. Yeah, my dude,
Mr. Force
Scataboo is gonna be a dog. Don't draft a 3rd round running back. He's like, man, dude went to Sac State. Like, I'm telling you, man,
sleeping,
and he slept.
Monty was at an ASU game, so
yeah, he absolutely was,
or at least just one.
Is that for Sam? Was it for Tyson?
I don't want to get into
Wait till we get there in that rabbit hole.
There was somebody trying to start a Kyler Murray versus Sam Leavitt debate, and
which
it's just
stop
like,
it.
Get help.
Stop it.
Get help
right now.
Get help. Get help.
Maybe one day we can have that conversation.
Here's the thing. If you're trying to have that conversation right now,
no.
Get some help.
You don't have that conversation until they're both in the NFL.
You don't have that conversation until Sam's played in the NFL.
For a year.
At least.
You only need a year of proof.
Yeah.
Like if he does what Jaden Daniels did.
Yeah.
People already have Jaden Daniels above Kyler Murray after 1 year.
People have Jaden Daniels as the best quarterback in the league.
Yeah. I don't know about all that stuff, but that is not our area of discussion. That's not what we necessarily do. One thing I do want to say is I've seen a bunch of people today that I don't always see. We had Christopher in here today. This ain't Mike. I'm sure you guys have popped in. I haven't necessarily seen your comments, but if you are somebody here that is new, always say what's up. If you're somebody that is a reoccurring chatter, always just say hello. Throw the forks up in here. Love having you guys in here, especially now that it's May, we'll hit June, July. Sure. We can definitely take more of your guys' questions throughout the show. So
this
really
show is in
it.
no small part shaped by you all.
Oh, yeah.
And the things that you bring up and the things that you ask about. And this show and this community has grown tremendously compared to where it was at, this point last year. I feel like we had like 4 times the amount of people sometimes.
Brother, my first show at PHNX was a post-game show for Arizona State basketball in the middle of the week against Utah, in which they lost in the final minute. Shout out Bobby Hurley. And there were 3 people in the postgame. Look at us now.
Yeah. And you know, it's because, yes, the team is great, but also because
It's you guys.
yeah, our community has been great and great at keeping people here. And we love that y'all are in the chat. So even if you're listening on audio, right? Like you can tweet us questions.
Yeah.
This is the setup to ready?
Drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. Hit the like button, hit the
There you go.
subscribe button on your way out. That is going to do it for today's episode of the PHNX Sun Devils show. Appreciate you throwing me the alley-oop there, guys. If you did enjoy today's content or you have more questions, give us a follow at PHNX_Sun Devils. You can follow me at Anthony_Totri. You can follow this guy here, Professor Oates, at Erik Ruby. That's Erik with a K. And we will see you guys on Tuesday. Same time, different studio. But as always, go Devils. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.